All right, welcome back, everybody, to another MileMaker Partner Series. Mark Lukenbill, commercial leader of MileMaker by Rand McNally. I'm so excited about today's guest, Catena. I'm going to let Jeremy and Mike and Aly introduce themselves in just a minute. But when we think about why we do these series right here and why we're building this entire partner ecosystem, when I first had a conversation with Jeremy and Mike and Aly about what Catena is building over there, and I started to think about what I hear on a day-to-day basis from all of our customers, from all of our prospects, right? Connectivity and visibility, right? Like, how do I know where my stuff's at? How do I make sure that what I'm doing, I have a connected workflow so I'm not logged into, 20 different screens every single day? And when I first had a conversation with them about what they're building and the traction that they have in the market, I was like, we've got to find a way to work together because our clients are begging for this. I mean, they're raising their hands every single day and saying, hey, I need a solution like this. So without further ado, Jeremy, Mike, Aly, I'll let you guys introduce yourselves and we'll learn a little bit more about Catena.
Mark, we're so honored to be on this with you, and I'm Jeremy Baksht, the CEO of Catena Clearing, and I'll let Mike and Aly introduce themselves too.
Hey, I'm Mike Goynes. I'm CTO and co-founder.
Hey everyone, my name is Aly Hancock. I'm the head of growth.
Awesome. So as we think about why you guys are here, maybe walk us through a little bit about the origin story of Catena, how it came about, how you and Mike got together, and then kind of why you're solving the problems that you're solving.
I'm super fortunate to have met Mike. It's been almost a year and a half or two at this point. We're both data junkies and have been at a couple startups and a big couple corporates as well. I was the head of strategy for Walmart data in the US. And, candidly, when you look at suppliers, I'm a data and technologist by heart, having been over a couple decades at a couple different places. Anderson Consulting was where I got my start, but in the journey was an investment banker in industrial tech, have had a couple startups, mostly in fintech. And at my time at Walmart, I started to see the disparity of, frankly, this industry from other industries, being in industries that have had data transformation and have kind of data at your fingertips for one pane of glass for all kinds of things, whether it's media measurement in the marketing space or in the hedge fund space where I spent a couple of years. I had friends that were doing microsecond trading, and you all know about flash boys and getting fiber close to a system or a server. But when you're fighting for inches, and then you come to an industry where there isn't full visibility, there isn't full track and trace, I was a little bit dumbfounded by the opportunity. And when I realized it was one that maybe I could help solve for some problems in it, I got really excited. So Mike and I co-founded the company with Travis May. Travis May has built two gigantic businesses in middleware. One is Datavant for connecting hospital systems to pharmacy and insurance based on a patient file. And the other is LiveRamp, which is a public company, and they are more in the market media measurement space. So what we thought was, what if we could actually build something like that in supply chain? That was kind of the beginning of the origin story. I was an EIR for him for 5 months, and then we started to talk to customers, and we were looking for that entry point. Was it TMSs, WMSs? Is it the warehouse? What are some of the problematic areas of not getting something on a shelf? We even did a couple different projects in shelf intelligence. So you sort of reverse engineer the problem on first principles. And I think what we kept resoundingly finding was, well, ELDs have a mandate now. What if you could actually start by getting truck data on behalf of different customers and platforms? Maybe that might be the right place to start. So we'll get into it a lot more on this call, but I think the reality for us is retailers, suppliers, brokers, 3PLs, carriers, shippers, from everybody's perspective and persona, there's a lot that can be done with the right data in the right place. But how do you get all the right data into the right place? How do you select your software systems? Do you use AI? There's just so many questions that are very intimidating. So we try to bite this problem into just one piece, which is, let's start with getting all the data from telematics into the right platforms. And that could be for operational use cases, financial use cases. This journey has already taken us into credit cards, load boards, insurance. There's so many different use cases that have not been fully touched by data yet, particularly not the tracking data, the trucking data, all the things that come out of an ELD. So I know we'll go deeper, so that's just the starting point, but it was really born out of seeing a lot of suppliers being frustrated about lack of visibility into where their stuff is in the retailer, and in my case was Walmart.
Yeah, I think that's part of the reason why I was so excited when we first started talking about this partnership and the fact that we're baking it out even more now. If we think about why MileMaker exists and what we're doing from just a mileage and routing perspective, it might seem like it's a small part of the supply chain. But when you think about the overall generalized use case of routing, it's how do I make sure that my shipment is properly moved from point A to point B, right? Now within that, Most of the time, the person that manufactures or produces the good is sending it to a customer or a customer's customer, and they need to know when it's going to get there, right? And all of that data happens from the time it leaves this point to the time that it's going to get here. Now, is it along that same route? Is the truck off route? Or are there issues, mechanical breakdowns, whatever the case may be? But the sooner that we can recognize that data and get that data where it needs to go, the sooner that person can pick up the phone, make a call to the end supplier, which can potentially save a deal, save a customer, or save a business. So when you think about your goal of connectivity right now, who are your primary targets? Who are the people you guys are trying to reach?
This is probably the clunkiest way to say it, but we are B to B to B. So we are helping platforms that help carriers. And if those platforms haven't taken the time to connect into ELDs and they don't understand how to take that raw data and turn it into workflow, that's really where we come in. So we've named some of our customers. We're cautious not to name them all, but there's a couple major load boards, debit cards, insurance companies that rely on us for that data. So very simple use cases that kind of light off the page. Fraud is one that is very obvious, but if you're using a diesel fuel card and the tractor is right next to a pump, that geofence location is much more likely to have a positive. It probably is not fraud in that case. So being the first to use telematics on that credit card is actually a really great place to play. We've got one of the major load boards is going to be pretty loud with an announcement soon. And I think with load boards, it's really simple, improving carrier matching instead of just being a bulletin board where somebody has a fleet and most of the trucks are sitting in California. How are they going to the next day take something, a load out of Houston, for example? So not having telematics and that history of the patterns seems to be a pretty big disadvantage. So if you can advantage a load board by creating better carrier matches, that's just an efficiency play. We've got an AI dispatcher. We've got all kinds of different use cases we can go a little bit deeper into. But I think location is just the tip of the iceberg. Aly and I were on a call with one of our customers today that's testing the waters, and they're a maintenance related app. And one of the things they do is they send notifications based on odometer readings.
Mm-hmm.
But what if that odometer reading doesn't tell you anything? If we can provide mechanical codes and reasons why they might need to get maintenance faster, that could be important. And maybe they're running in, we don't do weather yet, but if you can imagine running tires in a really hot environment, you might need to replace your tires faster. I don't know that just from an odometer reading, but I might know it based on where their location is and looking at their routes. So maintenance is a new area for us, and we're just starting to test the iceberg.
Yeah, I think Mike, and this is where I want to come to you next on this. What I love and what I'm hearing from you, Jeremy, is that you're meeting customers where they're at, right? So you're listening to the needs that they have in the product, and you're figuring out these new use cases based on where the product is going to go. What I found, and again, part of the reason why I'm so excited about this relationship is there's a ton of these tech companies. I was at Manifest earlier this year, and it was this weird scenario where I met 30 different people, and I swear they all told me they did the exact same thing. They're using AI to optimize supply chain data, and they're solving complex business problems. And I said, well, really, what do you do, right? And I think that a lot of them couldn't. I think we found a lot of VCs are throwing money into this industry. They see a $1.5 trillion industry, and they say, hey, we're going to build a solution that we think for a problem that exists right now. But a lot of them haven't been in here, aren't talking to their customers. And what I love about what Catena is doing, it's conversations with real users, figuring out the use case and adapting the product based on that. So people that are listening to this right now, Mike, talk to me a little bit about the ease of connectivity and kind of your overall strategy when it comes to bringing on new clients and new partners.
Actually, the whole point of the product is to make it easy. So we get a pretty easy checkbox on that one. The way that we're doing this is we're mapping out, we're up to 75 ELDs right now. We're mapping them all into a single data model with a single REST endpoint where you can call an API and get all of that data regardless of which ELD they're running.
That's incredible. Yeah. So I think this is a perfect time to segue into it. Why don't we take a look at it? I don't know if you're prepared to show us, but maybe we get a quick shot for the people that are interested in exactly what Catena is.
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll share our internal dashboard that our customers have access to, a little demo version of that, and then I'll walk through what it's like to onboard a carrier, because we think that that's one of the most important pieces.
Love it.
All right, so what we're looking at here is our developer dashboard. Most of our customers are using our product programmatically. So we're API first. Everything that we're doing here, everything that we're seeing here can be done via APIs. So what I'll do is come in and create a fleet code. This is going to be the test fleet. A fleet code is kind of our internal identifier where our system can talk to our customer system. From this point, we're now entering in what the carrier sees. So this is what a fleet manager or an operator would see. So here we're saying, hey, look, we're using this product to share your telematics data. Behind the approval page, we've got a wall of logos. Behind each of these logos is a form that is specific to the TSPs. You can imagine with 75 different TSPs, there's lots of different ways to connect them. Some of them are OAuth backed, so we're managing things like the app within the app, we're managing scope, all of the kind of technical headaches. Some of them are simple logins and passwords, others are API keys, and we've got screens to kind of help the process through. So if the fleet manager doesn't know how to find their API key, we can guide them very quickly on kind of how to find that. And then once they enter in the credentials, it is quite simple. They'll get a confirmation that they have now successfully connected. And at this point, our customers now have access to the data. So behind the scenes, we're fetching vehicles, drivers, location data, pretty much everything that the ELD offers. We're going to aggregate that in to a very easy REST API for our customers to call.
Awesome. I started thinking about this unique use case, and I know I don't want to get way ahead of where the product could potentially go, but what I love about it is like, as I'm looking at this, it's just light bulbs going off in my head, which I'm sure a lot of the people watching this video right now, it's the exact same way. But if you can capture like truck density in specific lanes at any given time, like imagine the power of that data to Missouri Department of Transportation, right? The roads, right? They can forecast when they need to do construction or traffic patterns, right? There's all these different amazing use cases that could save so many people time, money, and create new businesses, which will ultimately create new jobs, which helps our economy, which helps all of us. So, Aly, switching over to you from a growth perspective, I'd love to maybe hear just a little bit about your guys' plan for coming up and talking about these new use cases, like meeting new clients and where you guys are finding these conversations.
Yeah. So I am actually brand new to Catena, so I just started. Very excited to join the team. But our plan here is obviously we want to get in front of as many people as possible. So, given my network in the space, I've been in the space for about 10 plus years. So really leveraging that low hanging fruit, getting in front of as many people as possible, having these conversations. But most importantly, we think it's very beneficial to hit these conferences, right? So we want to make it more personable, but also learn more about what this supply chain network is doing and getting into as we continue to grow and expand out.
Awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
And Jeremy, maybe we can land the plane with you. Yeah. Maybe add some perspective.
Yeah, Mark, I really I'm so excited about our product, and adding Aly as our head of growth feels like a genius move on our part. At the end of the day, I think there's a couple people in this space that have some products that do some of the things that we do, but our whole ethos is very front to back on implementing maintenance and helping people understand the value of the data. So it's one thing to say, I've built a couple of connectors, Samsara, Geotab, and Motive. It's a very different one to say, we have a universal API to all of the connectors across mixed fleets, and also the awareness and understanding of how to plug them in. Because at the end of the day, a plug and play service doesn't exist yet for this, in part because data quality is an issue. And then the other is, what am I doing with the data? Even if you common model it, clean it for me, what actions am I supposed to take with this data? So having seen with a couple dozen customers now exactly how it can be leveraged, and we're still finding more use cases by the day, talking to our customers, being close to prospects, hearing the potential use cases, and as you said, meet them where they are. We're not just going to stand something up and say, plug it in, good luck. We're going to spend a lot of time together. I started my career in the late 90s at Anderson Consulting and have been a banker, have been a consultant, have been an advisor. And I know what it takes to meet somebody where they are. And it's not what you think it is. You know, one of our customers, and I won't say who, is on a 5 to 7 year implementation journey with a new platform. Can I just say, hey, use our API and you're off and running in 3 months? We know we're going to be hand to glove with them, you know, for many, many months on best practices for onboarding carriers, using the data effectively, linking it and enriching it into their common model. Those are the types of things that we need to do. So we love the discovery piece. We know it's a multi-phase journey. And yeah, it'd be naive to think people even know what to do with the data if you hand it to them. It's very easy to assume it's just location data. between hours of service, the actual engine itself, and all the other pieces that come off of it. And as you said, like lane density, if you knew nothing else other than where all the trucks are on the road, we're already at 5% of the trucks in the US. What happens when we get to 25%, 50%, 100%? We don't just become track and trace, we become the overall visibility and understanding of economic patterns too. It's a non sequitur, but I happen to come from the world of hedge funds. We've already had lots of hedge funds approach us and say, can you tell us the economic principles of what's happening on a day-to-day basis? What is the density in Nebraska? What about energy? What's flowing out of West Texas? There's so many different areas that we could probably address with the data. We don't want to uncover them yet per se, but we know that this could answer a lot of questions that are strategic that also have nothing to do with logistics. We're sticking with logistics. That expands into supply chain, but there's so much more rich data that comes out of this. I feel like we've just found a gold mine of data that really is just under prospected.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's great. And I think how we figure out the next step from here is through partnerships, just like what we're doing right now, and talking to more people and having conversations like this, connecting to more platforms. So if you're listening to this, if you're interested in having a conversation about Catena, about your business, about possible synergies, we're going to drop some contact information below. Feel free to reach out to Jeremy, Aly, Mike. The website will be down at the bottom as well. Guys, phenomenal conversation. I'm so excited about what the future holds for us. I'm excited for our customers to have exposure to you guys, for our prospects, for people just to know that there's a solution out there that isn't just solving one small problem, that, yeah, it could be an issue that you have already uncovered, one that you don't even know that you have yet. But a company that's willing to take where your business is and then grow and develop with you. So, Jeremy, Mike, Aly, any final thoughts before we wrap up?
We're delighted to be a partner, Mark, and we can't thank you enough for the exposure. And yeah, we want to meet as many people in the industry as we can and really start to take that high value problem and bite it into pieces and be as helpful as we can be.
Awesome. Well, everybody, make sure you like, make sure you're following, make sure you're attached to this. More companies like Catena are going to be coming every single week. Jeremy, Mike, Aly, thank you all so much for your time, and I appreciate everybody for watching.
Real pleasure, Mark. Thanks again.